all of those places really get live, I had to go delete them all. It's what happens. So tonight we're reading chapter 11, The Damsel of Distress. Hi, welcome. I'm Dawn Goldstein, and I am reading stories at night. Right now it's a chapter book. It won't always be a chapter book. Sometimes it will be just a quick little poem or a tiny little story from a picture book. But my thing and my jam is making reading accessible for everyone. Making good books and literature and teaching people that reading can be fun if you know how to do it right. I always say if you don't enjoy it, it's because you're not doing it right. And you don't always have to be reading the book to read a book. You can listen to a book and it's the same thing. I think people don't realize that. Listening to a book is, you would count that as I read that book. Just because your eyes didn't scan the words doesn't mean you didn't comprehend the content. And what is the purpose of reading after all, other than to comprehend the content? So what I tell learners who have any kind of processing disorders, or shall I say differences, to be politically correct, I tell them to let someone else read for you. It's the most powerful thing in the world. There's no app for a lap, right? There's no app for a lap. So if you didn't get that experience as a little baby and a little toddler and a little kid of sitting in someone's lap and having them read to you, then you're in the right place right now. I just want you to know you're totally in the right place. And I'm not showing my title. That's not the right one. Okay, and my Twitch people are so cool. I love the Twitch community. Hi, Twitch. They're so cool. I love Twitch. They always communicate. That's what I love. Whenever I'm on Twitch, the community shows up. Hello, I'm fine. Thank you for asking. How are you? How are you, friend? Who's there? Hi. I'm reading tonight, chapter 11, Damsel of Distress, and you wouldn't think such a little word like of or in would change the whole meaning of the sentence or the phrase, but it does. A damsel in distress is somebody who needs help. A damsel of distress is somebody who causes distress. De-stress, meaning in the stress. Okay, so, okay, cool. Thanks for sharing on Twitch. I will talk to you in a moment. All right, so this is the Damsel of Distress. So they find this lady's purse. They go on a quest. They dig it out of the sewer. They pull it up with the fishing pole thing. They get it, and Max takes one look at the address and says, that's a bad part of town. There's no money in the wallet. What are we going to give back the purse for? It's a bad part of town. We shouldn't go over there. And of course, Freak, what does he do? He says, but there's a damsel who needs this purse because they like slay dragons. Duh. So we have to give the purse back. And hasn't he already gone out in the middle of the night, 3 a.m., had to put soot, dirt all over himself, go through the dark, pull his purse that's soggy and nasty out of the sewer, and now he has to give said purse back to the lady that says Loretta Lee. That's all we know. It's a really good chapter, by the way. We really get in deep here. So the address on the ID card is this place on the other side of the mill pond. They used to call it the New Tenements, but now everybody mostly calls it the New Testaments, which Graham told me has nothing to do with the Bible. People will make their jokes, she says. Call that place whatever you want, but you are not to set foot there. Is that clear, Maxwell? Hey, Instagram. Hey, Facebook. Okay, so I see a little bit of everybody. Okay. Whew, feels good. I just need one or two, honestly. One or two engaged is all I care about. That's all you need in life, is just a little connected audience. So people will make their jokes, Maxwell, but don't go over there, dear. It's not like I wanted to go to the Testament, so it was real easy to keep that promise. And then the day after we pull that soggy pot purse out of the sewer, Freak explains how it's okay to break a promise if you're on a quest. Freak is always telling him to do things he doesn't want to do. Have you ever had a friend like that? Think of your high school friends. Go back and think of your high school friends. Hey, I got to show the comment. Where's my captions? That's what I need. Sorry, I had the comments going in my stream there. That might be dangerous. Even though on Twitch it's really cool, you can put in all kinds of words that get blocked if they try to use them. That was a fun list to create. It was kind of funny. I can't stop thinking about it right now. Anyhow, so you can't curse on my channel or use bad words against women like my neighbor does. He calls me the C word for the record. Isn't he nice? Okay. So it's not like he wanted to, but it's like we're on a quest. We have to go, right? We have to do this. There may even be a reward involved, he says. This is now Max speaking logic. The lady won't have much money if she lives in the Testaments, I say. Poor people live there and dope fiends. What we do is go down to the playground and cut over behind that little patch of trees just in case anybody is looking. And then we can circle around behind the pond. Freak is riding up top, which he almost always does now. The way he doesn't have to wear his that way he doesn't have to wear his leg brace or carry his crutches. And besides, I like how it feels to have a really smart brain on my shoulders, helping me think. Freak is talking a mile a minute, more stuff about the round table and how important quests are and why knights are bound up with oaths, and which is not the same thing as swearing. And I'm trying to listen and not ask questions because if I ask questions, he'll pull out his dictionary. When we get to the Testaments, though, Freak shuts right up. It's this big falling apart place with a bunch of apartments. It looks sad and smells like fish and sour milk. I don't know about that combo, but it does not sound good. Right? There's a lot of bikes and toys lying around, mostly bashed up and broken, and the little kids who live there looked almost as busted as the toys. When they see us coming, they make these screaming noises and run away, but you can tell they're not really scared. They just want to pretend like we're a monster or something. Eek, eek! Maybe we should reconsider this particular quest, Freak says. He's up there on my shoulders and getting fidgety, squirming around. But we're already outside the apartment door, and I go, maybe she really needs that ID card, so it's my fault what happens next. These two. Gosh. The door opens before we even ring the bell, and this hand comes snaking out and reaches for the mailbox and finds this rolled up newspaper and pulls it back inside. And there's something about the blind way that the hand moves that's creepy. Get out of here, I'm thinking. Then, before I can get my feet moving fast enough to leave, this woman's voice is cussing us out. Iggy, she says, Iggy, come here and see this. Now she's standing in the doorway, this scrawny, yellow-haired woman with small, hard eyes and blurry red lips. She's wearing this ratty old bathrobe, and she's smoking this cigarette and is squinting at us and making a face. That's just my best face. Iggy, she says out of the side of her mouth, come here and tell me if this circus is in town or what. Next thing, there's this big, hairy dude in the doorway. He's got a huge beer gut and these giant arms all covered with blue tattoos, and he's got a beard that looks like it's made out of red barbed wire. That's like the look right now, by the way. Gentlemen, clean it up a little, unless you're like, that's your lifestyle. Like, groom it. Manscape. But can you picture the barbed wire red? Okay? Who am I to judge? Wear your beard however you want. Not my man. Ain't the circus, he says, spitting the gob on the step. This here is the carnival. Freak isn't saying anything, and I want to get out of here, so I go, sorry, wrong number, and I'm trying to back away and not fall over a tricycle when the hairy dude comes out of the door real quick and gets in my way. Not so fast, he says. Who sent you? I know the big one, the woman is saying. Why does she know the big one? Does anyone know? I know where no one is here. It's like not in class. Does anyone know? The kids know because the dad's in jail and he looks just like his dad. So she's looking at him. She's like, I know the big one, the woman is saying. She's waving her cigarette around and squinting her eyes, and you can tell she's thinking on something, worrying it like a dog with a bone, simile, like a dog with a bone. I've seen him somewhere around. He don't look familiar, Iggy. Don't he look familiar, Iggy? Don't he? Freak finally says, please excuse us. We have the wrong address. We were trying to locate a Miss Loretta Lee. The tattooed dude hears that and he starts to laugh this fat sound way in his big belly, and he goes, you hear that, Loretta? This is an old flame of yours. Is this an old flame of yours or what? Then he reaches up and pokes me in the chest hard enough to make me catch my breath and says, cat got your tongue, kid? What is this, a Siamese twin act? All I can think to say is oops, because we have the right address after all. The squinty woman in the robe is Loretta Lee. And even more important, Iggy is Iggy Lee. And I feel like a total butthead because I've heard of Iggy Lee. He's the boss of the Panheads, this bad news motorcycle gang. We found your purse, Freak blurts out, and he tosses down the purse, and Iggy Lee catches it with one hand, and he gives Loretta this secret look like he's going to have some fun here. You better come inside, he says, looking up at Freak. You and Frankenstein. Sorry, Freak says, and his voice is chattering high. We'll have to decline your invitation because we have to leave now. Loretta flicks her cigarette butt at my feet, and she says, Iggy says come inside. You better do it. So we go inside. I have to take Freak off my shoulders so we can get in the door, and that's when Loretta looks at me hard and she says, I know that one. It's like a flash from the past. Iggy, you know him. Iggy isn't paying any attention to her. He's pointing at this ratty chair and he says, sit down. It makes me nervous looking up. Remember how big Max is. Loretta comes around and she says, don't be making Iggy nervous, not this early in the day. Last dude made him nervous. They had to. Shut up, Loretta, Iggy says in this real quiet voice. Oh, actually, that would have sounded like, shut up, Loretta, in his real quiet voice. It happens. I'm not an actress. Anyhow, I'm thinking, you're right. He does look familiar. I'm sitting in this chair, which feels like it might bust apart, and Freak is right next to me, and I can see he's trying to stand straight, but it's not easy because he's all bent up inside. Names, Iggy says. Freak clears his throat and tries to make his voice sound so deep and more grown up. We're sorry to disturb you, sir, but we have to go home now. It's a matter of some urgency. Iggy reaches out and he flicks his fingers at Freak's nose. Flicks his nose. That's gotta hurt and be annoying at the same time, right? And little Freak, you don't flick him in the nose. Ew, right? I can tell it hurts, but Freak doesn't say anything. He just tenses up. Iggy goes, I ask a question, you better answer it. Get it? Names. I want your names. Freak tells his name and then mine, and Iggy reaches down and pats him on the head. Very good, he says. Now, that wasn't hard, was it? Next question, where'd you get Loretta's purse? Freak tells him we found it in the storm drain. He doesn't mention us dressing up all in black or the Darth Vader's costume or anything about knights or quests. Next question, Iggy says, where's the money? Loretta coughs on her new cigarette and says, but Iggy, there wasn't any money. And he goes, shut up, Loretta. And she coughs again and shuts up. And you can tell she's afraid of Iggy. The way she holds herself tight whenever he says anything. Freak goes, I've got $2 in change. You can have it, but we have to go home now. Iggy gives him this look like he's thinking seriously about I skipped 2 lines. Iggy gives him this look like he's thinking seriously about throwing up, and he says, what is it with you? You got to go home. We're having a nice little talk here. Don't spoil it. All of a sudden, Loretta jumps up, and she goes, Iggy, I've got it. Kenny Kane. Remember Kenny Kane? For a second, I think he's going to hit her, and then he relaxes and really looks at me, and his eyes go wide, and he nods and says, Sure. That's it, Kenny Kane, you're right. He's a ringer for this old killer Kane. Must be his kid, huh? Sure it is. Loretta looks real happy she finally figured it out, and she runs into the kitchen and kicks some stuff out of the way and pulls open the refrigerator, and we can hear her laughing and saying, I knew it. I just knew it. When she comes back in, she's got 2 cans of Bud, and she pops them both and gives one to Iggy. Breakfast of champions. She says, what a flash, huh? Remember that time, old Kenny? Shut up, Loretta, Iggy says, and then he chugs the Bud and squashes the can in his fist, and he drops it right on the floor, which is the first time I noticed all the other crushed cans. They're everywhere. The whole place is like a trash can or a big ashtray or something. Meanwhile, Freak is giving me this look like he has no idea what's going on, and that look scares me more than Iggy and all his tattoos. I've got him too, Loretta says, snapping her fingers. The midget or dwarf or whatever he is, he must be Gwen's kid. Do you remember Stuck-Up Gwen? No, Iggy says, and his eyes are bursting into me. Never heard of Gwen. Loretta goes, doesn't matter. What a flash this is. Kenny Kane. Time flies, huh, Ig? I can remember when these two were born. And then, what was it? A couple of years later, Kenny does his thing and he's in the yard, right? Doing time. In the yard is prison, jail, lockdown. Iggy says that he is. I know a guy knows him inside. He gives me this creepy look and he says, you go up there to visit the old man. You tell him Iggy says hello, okay? I doubt he even knows his father, Ig. He was only a little kid when it happened, right? I don't say anything, and Freak is looking at me like he's never seen me before. And then Iggy says, Killer Kane. What a tough hombre he was. Loretta says, I heard he's seen the light in there. He's got religion. Is that true? I don't know. Iggy snorts and he says, he don't know. He don't know much, do you? I shake my head. Loretta says, he's some kind of, I'm not going to say the R word, but it's the R word. And in my world, you don't use the R word unless you're dumb. He don't even know how big, or you don't know better, I should say. He don't even know how big and strong he is. Reminds me of Lenny from Of Mice and Men. She pokes Iggy and tickles him, and in this strange, giggly voice, she says, why don't you find out? Find out if he's as strong as he looks. Iggy scowls and he goes, give me a break, Loretta. He gives me this long look and he hooks his thumb at the door and says, showtime's over, boys. Get out of here, the both of you. Loretta says, but Iggy, we could have some fun. You're the dummy. It's not the word he used. Loretta. Iggy says, what if Killer Kane hears I was messing with his kid? No, thank you. I keep losing my place. He's in for life, she says. What's the harm? Life ain't life. How many times I tell you that? Loretta is squinting at him and she goes, are you serious? He's getting out someday? And Iggy looks at me and looks at me and then tells her to shut up again. Finally, we get to the door, and that's when Loretta wants to rub Freak on the head real hard with her knuckles. Did you hear that? It was really loud for me. This is for luck, she says to Iggy. It's good luck rubbing a dwarf on the head. I don't know why she has a New York accent, but she does. I could be wrong. Freak is trying to duck away, and he says, I'm not a dwarf, and I'm not good luck. Loretta gives up on rubbing his head, and she stands up straight and folds her arms and says, hey, midget man, I know all about you. Your old man was a magician. Did you know that? Freak is scuttling around behind me, keeping out of her way. But when she says that, I can tell he wants to know about his father, if maybe he really was a magician. Yeah, Loretta says. Right after you was born, he must be a magician because as soon as he heard the magic words birth defect, he disappeared. A second later, Iggy shoves us out of the door. And usually when I read that line in class, the kids go, because it's so ew. Those are the people in society that What are you going to do when somebody lives that lifestyle, uses those words, uses the language that we've all agreed on is inappropriate, not okay, not kind? Like, can we just be kind just because? Like, can we just hashtag KJB, just kindness just because, right? So we got a lot of inappropriateness going on in here. Wonder what's going to happen tomorrow night. Chapter 12, and the name of the chapter is Killer Kane had a kid who got no brain. Killer Kane. I got a little megaphone, my notes, because that's like a cheer. Killer Kane had a kid who had no brain. Now, he's always calling himself stupid, but he's never stupid. He thinks he's stupid because school set him up to think that way. And I know school has set many of you up to feel like you're not good enough, you're not smart enough. And I think that's what's wrong with education right now, is we say to all of them, send them to college. We lie to them and say everyone needs to go to college. And we grade them all like they're going to be college professors. And I say, with that already, like, no. Let's not go back to normal in our classrooms. Let's not keep sending them in batches by ages. When in the world are you in batches by ages other than school? Let the kids who want to work on math and science and engineering work on math and science and engineering. And let the artists and the dancers paint and dance and draw and sculpt, right? Why do we have to tell them that what they're good at is not valuable when the only thing education finds valuable is your score on a test? And the real world doesn't care about your test scores. No, they don't. The real world doesn't give a damn about your SAT score. No. If they did, I wouldn't be here talking to you tonight, because my brace advisor, she was a witch, she told me, because of my SAT scores, true story, Dawn, don't go to college. You shouldn't even, my friends were all applying, and I was like, oh, I should be having an appointment. No one called me for an appointment, so I made my own appointment. And then what did she say to me? Oh, your scores aren't very high. Maybe you're so pretty. Why don't you go to beauty school? Master's degree later, had 3 children while I got my master's degree, worked a full-time job. Right now I have 3 jobs, 1 million pets, 3 kids, take care of my mom, and I do it all with a smile on my face. And I'm not knocking anyone who went to beauty school, because I will tell you that they all make more money than I do. Well, not anymore, but like when I was just a teacher. Just my teacher salary, right? So why are we setting up kids for failure? Why are we training every kid to be a college professor? Know how to cite your sources. Like, not everyone's going to be a mathematician, or we just need better citizens. We need character education. We need creativity. We need entrepreneurship. We need kids to know they matter, no matter what the test score says about them. So there. All right. A little long tonight, but hey, I felt like talking. I missed last night. So have a good night. Love you. Good night, friends. Sleep tight. Yes, I'm sure I want to. And I'm getting an iPad or something so that this doesn't have to happen with all the different. Yeah. Bye.